Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you guys doing? I saw this pop up, and to be honest, that's just a hell of a YouTube title. Bravo. Why soccer will be the biggest sport in the US. I mean, to be honest, I read that, I'm a little bit skeptical. You're saying football's gonna be bigger than football? I don't believe it. That's quite a statement. I'm very, very intrigued to see what his reasoning is. Check him out, Robbie Lou, link down below. It's a pretty cool icon. I actually like that a lot. Look at that. It's like a soccer ball. His icon is a soccer ball. Anyway. That shows he might be a little bit biased, I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to hear him out. Let's see. It could be true. Oh, go! Go! Go!
With the World Cup on right now, soccer's on people's minds across the globe. But here in the US, I believe the beautiful game is ready to take the country by storm.
Okay, so this guy's actually American. I expected him to be European. Okay. So that adds a little bit of credibility, you know?
And this could prove dangerous for baseball and basketball in the United States. Hear me out. I have a few reasons to believe that soccer is going to surpass baseball in popularity over the next decade. And make
Baseball?
sure you stay to the end to see how
You know, that's possible. I feel like baseball has been on the decline for a while now. I actually don't know the exact stats on that. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, this is a crazy graph. In 1973, there were 35 million people watching the World Series. And in 2023, less than 10 million. Oh, boy. I mean, that's crazy, especially considering how the population has gone up so much in the United States since then. Of course, you have to account for the fact that there's so much more competition now. Like, back in 1973, there how many channels were there? Like 3? And there was no Netflix, no YouTube, no computers, so obviously that all has a major effect on people watching any television show. But still, it's pretty clearly on a slow decline.
over the next decade. And make sure you stay to the end to see how a 17-year-old soccer streamer fits into all my theories here. Okay.
That's iShowSpeed, right? I've never really watched him, and I didn't know he was a soccer streamer.
Fits into all my theories here. Okay.
I've seen so many clips of him, but he's never playing soccer. He's always doing some crazy shit.
So there's been a bit of an international revolution when it comes to American players in Europe. With the quality of American players increasing the biggest leagues in Europe, I think that's going to bring a ton of attention to the sport in the US. And with this interest, I believe that will increase investment in the sport throughout the country, which will hopefully introduce more academy programs to different areas throughout the United States. And that could be
I don't know what an academy program is, but if it has anything to do with kids playing soccer, almost every kid plays soccer. It's the weirdest thing, honestly. Like, everybody plays soccer when they're a kid. For whatever reason, it just kind of phases out as you get older. For most people, of course, they still play soccer. Some people still play soccer, like in middle school, high school, college, professionally. You know, it's a thing. It's just, when you're a kid, that's like the #1 sport.
Critical for the hopes in the future of soccer in the US. Even today, the academy programs in the United States are so much better than they were in the past. And that's why the team is so much more talented today, the national team, than it was years ago. It seems that soccer is already the fastest growing sport in the US. Looking at a study from 2002 to 2019, high school soccer participation.
I can't help but laugh about the fastest growing sport in the US. Not that it's not true. It very well may be true. But I've heard that about so many different sports, it's crazy. They say it about disc golf. They say it about pickleball. They say it about spike ball. Now apparently it's soccer. So I'm like, Okay, the fastest growing sport in the US. I've heard that before, but I'll hear him out. I'll hear him out.
2019, high school soccer participation grew 32%, which is far and away the highest growth of any major sport. And not only
For any major sport, see, those other sports I just listed, they're like tiny sports. That's why it's like, whoa, we went from 50 pickleball players to 85 this year. That's a 70% increase. So it doesn't really, it's not the same. Soccer, on the other hand, you know, it's a major sport, as he said. So that has a lot more punch behind it. The fact that it grew 32%.
which is far and away the highest growth of any major sport. And not only do I believe the World Cup right now will be increasing interest in the sport, but having the World Cup in America in 2026 will have a drastic effect on the
That's true.
popularity of the sport.
The main argument I see
That's
against
true.
soccer and why it won't
When's the last time the U.S. had the World Cup? 1994. Oh my God, this is gonna be a big deal. That really is gonna be a huge deal.
become popular in the US is because it's boring and it's slow and it's low scoring. But I think that argument can be used in the same way against baseball. And so I think the attributes contributing towards soccer's increase in popularity will outweigh its losses and it will increase in popularity in the US. However,
I've never understood that argument like, oh, it's boring, it's slow. It's like any kind of argument you can make to say, oh, soccer's not, it can't be popular because it's, you know, it's boring. Anything like that doesn't make any sense because the whole rest of the world sure enjoys watching it. So there's obviously nothing inherently wrong with the game as far as being a spectator sport. Billions of people love watching it. So you can't say, oh, it's just not a good spectator sport. It's slow.
I don't think you can say the same for baseball.
Now, studies do show that today, soccer is still behind baseball and basketball in terms of American popularity. However, I think the difference maker between these three sports will be soccer's ceiling. I think baseball specifically, but possibly basketball, has already hit its ceiling. And a study made back in April of 2022 kind of confirmed this idea. The study polled American citizens to see what they considered themselves fans of. In it, 67% of them considered themselves fans of the NFL, while 55% for the MLB and 46% for the NBA. While for soccer, only 37% of people polled agreed that they were fans of the sport. From these numbers, I can kind of tell that baseball and basketball, since they've been cornerstones of American sports since the mid-20th century at least, their industries have matured and there's not much more room for growth. But soccer only started gaining ground in the 90s, and it still has huge potential. Because of that, I think it will begin
That was a cool clip.
stealing fans from the older sports in America. Now, baseball's a historic
That's an interesting, that's an interesting point. I think there's something to that, but it's also kind of funny to say, hey, soccer's not as popular, so therefore it has room to grow. Like, these sports are really popular, so they're going to fail. I don't know.
sport in the United States. But I think there are inherently issues with baseball that will make it unappealing to people in the future. A lot of people are ignoring regular season games. And it's my personal opinion and a lot of others out there that the problem is the way baseball is set up. While in sports like soccer and in the NFL, the few games that there are for soccer, one game a week, it's very significant. There's a lot riding on one game. And when they combine that one game of the week in the league with other leagues, it makes for a very entertaining season. When you're competing for 3 different trophies all at one time, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of excitement around the sport. And that's crucial for keeping people interested in watching. That's not something baseball has anymore. There's 162 games in a 4-month period, and it gets really boring. I think the MLB playoffs is one thing, because that will remain entertaining in my book. That's all I watch now. But otherwise, I don't think the youth in America are watching every single game or many games at all. And unless baseball implements some major changes, I don't see a good future for the sport. A key point to recognize here is that baseball, basketball, and football, there are no major leagues outside of America for those specific sports. And that's not the case for soccer. So if you get bored with the MLS, there's Ligue 1, there's La Liga. There's leagues all over the world that give viewers so many different options.
That is true. That is a really interesting thing about soccer and its potential, is that the whole rest of the world has this whole ecosystem already built up and waiting for America to get on board. And once we decide, soccer or football, I don't know what to call it. I guess we're calling it soccer. Soccer, boom, they already have access. Everything's already set up. All these huge games, these huge tournaments, all these leagues, all these players with all these iconic rivalries and stuff to learn about and watch. And yeah, it's all right there. It's already built out for the rest of the world.
That's what we need today. That's what consumers want today. They want options. Look at the way people operate on YouTube, on TikTok, constantly scrolling. They need options, and that's not something these other sports can offer them.
But I really want to recognize that there's something that soccer has right now that it's never had before in the US. A major influencer that loves it.
This is a really, really funny, clever point, because I did not foresee that at all. But now that he says it, it actually makes so much sense, because this guy right here, IShowSpeed, I hope that's him. Let me make sure I'm at least saying it. IShowSpeed. I know it is, but I don't want to be wrong. Yeah, it is. He is so big right now, and I feel like he's so big among kids right now. There's definitely some kind of like swelling among the youth happening for soccer. I feel like there must be, because they're watching him, and well, like I said, I didn't know he was like a big soccer guy. I knew he played FIFA. I didn't know he actually played like in real life. But that's huge if he's influencing all these millions of kids watching him to watch soccer. Especially come World Cup 2026 in the USA. It's like a perfect combination right there. It's going to be huge.
Play football.
So Speed's a 17-year-old American streamer who's quickly become one of the most popular faces on the internet today. The kid is wildly entertaining and has found a way to garner a massive audience in a pretty short period of time. And he loves the game of soccer. It's become a huge shtick in his videos and his streams.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting? He loves soccer, an American 17-year-old boy. I mean, and he's like the biggest streamer in the world. That's really good for soccer in the USA. That's really good.
And he plays FIFA all the time. And so I think with this, will help foster new interest in the game among people that may not otherwise have learned about soccer or been interested in it. And I hope this interest can lead to some more soccer-obsessed fans just like me.
I got into soccer because I watched it on YouTube, and I watched the Sidemen, I watched AA9 Skills play FIFA, and then I got into playing FIFA, and from there I got into playing the sport. And I think the same thing could happen because of IShowSpeed. Just to get it out there, I'm not condoning what he's done. He has made mistakes, and I'm glad that he's come out and...
Dude, you don't have to address that at all.
And apologize for some of these things. And I think if he grows and he matures and he learns what he should and should not do on YouTube for the sake of his audience, I think he can be a very good influence for the soccer community.
The dude is nuts. The IShowSpeed guy. That's his brand. He is off the wall.
To sum it all up, I
don't even know what he's referring to. Like, what he's done. He's done a million things that are off the wall.
These historic American sports have a lot of competition on their hands. And I'm very excited to see how the popularity of soccer changes in the US over the coming years. But whatever happens, a fight is coming and change will occur. And if I learned anything from my economics degree, it's that competition is good for the consumer.
All right, guys, that's my video. That's my case. Let me know what you guys think about it. Put your criticisms in the comments below. Put your positive comments in there as well. Let me know what you think.
Wow. I did not know. I did not think that that would be that compelling. Going into that, I was like, okay, soccer's going to be the biggest sport in the U.S. That sounds like it's just some clickbaity YouTube title, probably by some, guy that just is hoping that, the U.S. will finally catch on to soccer. But that actually is very compelling. I did not know the World Cup was coming in 2026, and the fact that IShowSpeed, maybe the biggest streamer in America right now, maybe in the world, loves soccer that much and is influencing all these kids, and these kids are growing up, they're going to be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old in 2026. That World Cup's going to be huge for soccer over here in America. I am totally on board with that. And it'll be really interesting to see from there where it goes. Will it overtake American football? Maybe in a while. But there's a whole lot of, between like millennial, Gen X, boomers that watch American football, hundreds of millions that I think are set in their ways. So I think it'll take a while, but maybe it'll be interesting to see if it can overtake baseball. And we'll go from there. And then maybe basketball. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.